Hey everybody, this is DayTraderRockStar, and this is the first part of the HPS watch list.
ES Tradeometer overbought.
And there's our little tradeometer setup right there. But this is for the watch list for April 27th next week. It is Friday, and I typically start these things off on a Friday. Um, and I have a lot of things to go over, so we're going to try to get it out early. Right now, it is a little bit before 12 o'clock, and we're expecting new highs. At least I'm expecting new highs. I expect this market to continue to move higher and grind higher, what I call the bulldozer phase, bullish action and a grind higher, just taking out highs, taking out stops. A very hard trade if you're trying to short this market, but giving you some opportunities on slight little pullbacks. We've been focused a lot on the ES and focused on options and on stocks. Let's just get right into it. Right now, this is where the market is right now. You can see we're right off the highs of the session. We're starting to come out of this bigger channel. It's a nice 1-2-3 pattern. At 9:45, I happened to just miss this. I was actually involved in doing something else. But we had our first triple setup and a reversal candle. And that's the criteria for those triple threats. We have two really good signals we look for when trading the ES. And understanding the overall trend is higher, and then the momentum is higher, and the strength is there. So we're looking at buy signals, things that are pulling back, and we're trying to get these signals. So it'll be harder to grab a short, not really looking at the shorts too much. We'll continue to mark them off and see how they perform, but it's really about two good setups, either the lane divergence, which I talked about for so long, and the triple threat setup, which we have a band of three stochastics here. But the key here is really getting an extra indicator, and we'll look for that candlestick, and that candlestick is really a candle that spikes down a little bit below, or spikes down below the previous lows, usually in this consolidation, and closes back up higher, leaves a nice tail, and also that tail also has to correspond by a triple stochastic setup. And I always feel that is your best opportunity for a short-term scalp, and you can see that actually played out there, and it popped back up, it pulled back a little double bottom. Not a triple here, but there's other things that we just want to pay attention to. And we're just getting an overbought level too. So again, just to talk about this live, it's not a bad candle here. We got overbought here, and overbought here. So we have a triple threat to the downside with a little reversal candle right there. So this is it's a higher risk maneuver, based on the strength in this market. But other than that, it is, probably a little pullback here. So let's start off here. I already started sending out some stocks in the chat room, and I actually started picking up some stock new positions today and adding to positions. And again, the CVS here. We're going to start off with the CVS, and there's a perfect setup. I probably could have even taken this trade live with you. As a triple stochastic setup with a little reversal candle, took out the highs. It qualifies there, and you can see the reaction right off of that. So the first one we're going to take a look at is the CVS. CVS, retail drugstore, and again, just a nice little pullback. It's the issue with this this type of market is there is some great companies out there, and the time frame, as there's so many different type of traders. You could be a swing trader, you could be just a kind of a new part-time investor / trader learning the markets. But everyone wants to get results quickly, and this market, as it's been slowly grinding up, has pulled back some. There's opportunities here. But we've been seeing a lot of good stocks really just trend sideways. There's so many different stocks we've been following, and they've just been just kind of grinding sideways, like Aetna here. Take a look at that. This for the last 3 weeks. I mean, just sideways consolidation. It's not the most exciting market. I mean, we'd like to get the pivot areas to pull back, to pop back up, to pivot, and to get the timing down. This is slowly working in your favor, but it is taking time. It could be a little bit frustrating. That said, you still have to, take what the market gives you. So let's go back to CVS, which we are waiting for this thing to move out. It's a great company. Trying to hold on to that 50-period moving average, trying to hold on to that 100 level. these whole numbers, like you could talk about a great stock like Johnson & Johnson and say, wow, Johnson's above $100, but you could even see this thing chop under $100, back above it, flag out, little reversal, pop back up, choppy, choppy, choppy. And this has been what's been going on overall in a lot of different stocks. I mean, we concentrate on the channels within the channel, the reversals, the HPS setups, the divergences, but there's going to be some times you just get a sideways motion, and you just it's a waiting game right now. And there could be possible more downside here in the CVS. It could take out that 100 to kind of just take out that psychological number, and kind of mess with people. We're seeing some good strength here on the stochastics, and it's just, I don't want to go into it too much because it's not much going on here, but still looking at this one to eventually make new highs. New highs are up here in that 105 area. It's not that far away. Probably take a day to get up there if it just got moving. All right, now this is interesting because right now, again, we're in a situation where we're expecting further strength in the market, but we have that possibility of that divergence. We had a little triple threat sell signal here, pulled us back to that 20, but then we get a fast spike taking out the recent highs. Yet we don't really move here on the slower stochastic or on the fast stochastic band. We don't push back up here. So as it actually crosses back down underneath that dotted 80 line here, would set us up for another type of sell signal called the delayed divergence sell signal. And again, with pressure to the upside, it becomes very important not to expect a lot out of the setup. It's a much greater opportunity once you get a lane divergence buy signal in a rising market, and again a sell signal in a falling market. Now we have a rising market very close to highs. We get this little signal, and it hasn't even confirmed yet. But sometimes you see that fast spike and you see what's happening here. You're just noticing this work out. Now, is it going to hold up here? It's a big question. It's going against a little, we'll just, because it's against the grain, we always want to pay attention to that 5-minute time frame also, and make sure if you're going to have something working for you, might as well have that 5-minute work for you. And the 5-minute working for you means that we need to have that 5-minute overbought, and we just got overbought here. So everything actually looking pretty good. This could still get embedded. And again, I am pretty bullish on this market, so I'll be going against the tide here. If you do take a long here, and you could get a squeeze right back up to the highs. I'm going to pass on this because of that scenario when we haven't really confirmed a divergence yet. The 5-minute, though, is an important setup. So I'm watching this. I'd love to see it break down here just so those indicators just continue to play out like they normally do. All right, but we're going to watch this as we go to the next stock now. Now, did we talk about WY yet? WY. Picked up some calls in this one. What was this? That was back April 16th. Some May calls. And was it April 16th? April, yeah. Yeah, right around here somewhere. It was into this reversal candle. You took a shot on this reversal candle. It's May, and it kind of chopped around and held up here. Now we're actually starting to push back up. So this is actually looking much better as we rotate back up. Not much going on. I mean, it's a good level. It's just taking its time. Actually, I did see a little divergence here. It was hard to read onto that too. Now, so currently long here, May 15, 32 calls. And again, they're not really moving that much. But it does look good. It looks like we're starting to build back up. We're going to try to get through that 20. Now, Facebook here breaking down here. And Facebook, a little bit more follow through. I like the weakness in it. I was going to, kind of added to it today, but not a lot. It's not a major holding for me. I just want to try to see if we actually build back up. And right now, we're actually making lows of the session. We're hearing a little more of popcorn in the background, which is probably going to show us that, this divergence actually is playing out now. So this is a tough call. Not normally would take a divergence with such a bullish setup here. So I'm going to pass on that. I'm going to pass on it. But it is a classic lane divergence. And what we'll do is, we could always switch this over to sim mode here. And that way we could, and again, I'm expecting a little pop here, so it'd be silly to even mess around with it. So we had some news on Disney before. DIS, Carl Icahn here, rumored to be taking a stake in it. Didn't want to spin off the cable companies, I guess. So WY here pushing a little bit higher. Let's just throw this sim trade in there for a second. We'll just move that out. We'll just let that roll. That's sim trade. Just a sim. So what are we up to now? Next one. I see even Andy from Finland here just taking that short on 211 here. So Andy from Finland actually just took a short here at 2111, excuse me. Even with a stop at 2113. Very hard with the market grinding higher, and this funny strength that I feel. But the important thing is to stick to your methodology. If you see a signal, we have that 5 minute, we have this the 1 minute. It is setting up, so kind of we'll watch it, see how it plays out. Hopefully it does play out for Andy. So next one up here, let's get to it. As you can see, we kind of pushed back up here just a little bit more. And this is what I expected. A little further push, a little bit better strength in this overall market. So again, but now what we had is another triple setup. So this is what we call a triple stochastic, triple threat setup, and that's typically a nice level 4 reactionary move back, pull back down here once you have that little sell signal up here, and it comes in when this pushes back up. This one holds above that, and this one is right at that level too. But again, it's just, I would say probably the hardest thing for newer traders is just trying to stay, not get into a good trade, but not to overtrade, not to get into a bad trade or constantly trying to make something happen when the market is telling you, hey, this is not the best setup, even though this is actually a strong market. Yeah, you're getting micro moves here. You get a little triple threat and you get a little move back to the 20, but that's where you have to realize, hey, you might get 3 ticks on this, and that's all the market's going to give you. You have to realize that and take that and say, that's fine, I'll take, I'll take, $62, I'll take $50, I'll take $37, I'll take $12.50, depending on what you're getting. Because it all adds up, and it is a higher probability zone, but the exits are so important to understand that. Now this is, again, another triple setup, a little pullback, and it maybe still might work out. It still might work out to the downside. Now, as you can see, this is about to push through this, and again, this is a sim trade, so hopefully this gets out, and that actually we're setting up as another possible divergence here, kind of like spiking with this is a little trend line right above us. I know. Hopefully, see if we get to that 2113 level, because now it actually starts to look like an interesting short. All right, so that just took out those area. That took out the that line. There's a little trend line that goes out here, right up against this trend line. We might take off here again. I would like to take a shot here. I want to turn this over to live mode, and let's see if we can actually jump on this right fast here off of this trend line. Very difficult trade, I'd feel. Right up against this trend line. We didn't get that. We didn't confirm a divergence. It looks strong. Let's move this down a little here. I'm trying to manage this out a little bit better. Is there a possible rising? I was watching Paul's chart here just to see if there was a small little wedge pattern playing out here. Not much of one, but you know what? I don't mind this setup here. 12 and a quarter. I got a stinky fill on this. A very stinky fill. A stinky fill. Should have put a limit order in here. You know, imagine so many different things going on. So when I do see that set up, I'll fire it in. You know, have a little strategy here. Let's see what happens. So we haven't had a rotation back here either. We have this little wedge pattern. Possible divergence playing out one more time. Liking this a lot better. See if we get a point on this. Let's see how far it pulls back. Let's see if we get a divergence. Let's see if we have a wedge pattern breakdown through that 2110 level. There's so much to look at here. So as we let this play out now, this is a live one, I think a much more interesting trade, considering we have that recognizable pattern, we have a lane divergence, we have a trend line, we have a pattern recognition, we have a lot of things here working for a little pushback, but yet it still is a fight here, a fight. WY here, we mentioned that. Fastenal starting to come back alive. And let's talk about Fastenal next. Let's move this down. Let's move this down a little bit more, so in case we just lose track of the markets, we could jump back on there fast. Let's take a look at FAST. And a fast little smackdown this morning. Just a fast little smackdown. What happened was we had a breakout yesterday. And what happens is there's a larger channel breakout. Pop through this pivot area, pivot area, pivot area. We pop through it with a nice range, and we pulled back. And when we go into a kind of a moment where we could just micromanage this a little bit better, you could see that 60-minute time frame that we actually pulled back to that trend line. Here's the breakout of the trend line we popped up against. Finally broke out of it. And this is where we come back and retest it. This is where we want to establish, and there's also an underlying trend line underneath as we kind of came down. So pretty interesting level. We talked about it today on the in the room. I really like this level for this to hold up and kind of put a new pivot area here on the daily. Well, not even on daily, on this, pretty much on that 60-minute time frame here. This little pivot area that kind of marks this one off. It marks this pivot, and now it's going to mark this pivot. And the pivot, really is a directional change. It's a move from up or down, and you could actually put this little point here. So that's what when you hear me say a pivot, your pivot's discussed many times in the market, but it's basically where you have a change of direction. And this is we'll call this a little pullback here. We're going to look for that combined with this downward channel to be another pivot area. And these pivots line up, and that trend lines up, and we start to push and react to the new trend that's starting to develop because we did break out of the old trend. Waste management pulling back here. Market still looks strong. I'm not hearing anything going on here. It's just it's very strong. Could even get out of this. You could feel like, all right, this is not. You're going against the tide. You could take a tick, 2 ticks. Remember, it might not give you a lot. If you could get 2 ticks, maybe 3 ticks on this, hey, you're a winner. If you hold it too long, and you see the strength here building, it's most likely you're going to try to pop a little bit higher and then maybe break down. There's a little popcorn coming in. WY here, CVS starting to move out. This is embedded to the upside and very strong. Market's very strong. I don't want to, take any trades that just don't seem like the higher probability setup. And again, when the market is going against you so strong, it is. It's just about that. CVS here now starting to make its move. If this doesn't move here in the next couple minutes or next minute, there we go. I was thinking of actually just taking it off. I still could take 2 ticks off here, and that's your winner either way. 3 ticks. Let's see if we get 4 ticks. Let's see if we can grab that. I'm going to take it off here. All right, so we got 3 ticks on that, and that's for me, that's great. That's me, because we had a good signal. We had that divergence, a clear divergence. We had a trend line. We had a recognizable pattern. And now, if I had multiple contracts, I should have kept one on, put the stop right back up here to break even, and then look for this pattern to actually bounce up a little and then fail, or just continue to break down here. Very bearish pattern right now. Very bearish pattern. A great one. And, it's just, I probably expect this to break down a little bit further right now. So this could have been actually one of the better setups of the day, as a short side setup. We have the divergence, the rising wedge, the support line, everything that goes along with that. Could have had a easy point on that. And we're right back down to the underlying trend line, the 50-period moving average. Now, if we move back up here, say we get back with 2112, this pattern typically breaks down. Is it going to break here, or are we going to push up a little bit more and then roll over? The market tends to test the patience of traders, So if you start feeling like you're going to, it's going up, it will go back up. Maybe not take out the highs, move back up here, then roll over. Decent pattern, though. I think a high probability that we break down out of this pattern at one point inside this little triangle. So we'll move on here and looking at the next stock, and we'll try to outline the next ES here. And it's kind of, I'm doing this in the room. I'm not even posting this because I had to really focus on it. But you can see here the rotation back down. We're not even oversold yet. We just got oversold. And that's one of my criterias for the short-term scalper, is right when this gets overextended, oversold, that we tend to have a bounce. And this is a trend line, that we also have to consider as a technical level. The 50-period moving average right there. We'll see if we do get just a little reactionary bounce, or do we flush down here. The overall pattern's telling me down, but does it come with a little bounce before that? That 20 here, the fast, medium, and slow, the fast is saying disciplined traders that believe in the style and the methodology and see the results, then anything past this point, you're just gambling. All right. So next stock up here, we talked about the Fastenal. CVS starting to move back up. Coach here, Core starting to push back up. Alibaba acting great today. Let's concentrate on that one for a second. Now, Alibaba hasn't had a good run of it. I mean, it's been chopping around here. I've been concentrating on looking at interesting levels on Baba. I've marked off some large range candles. We haven't had many of them. The last one we thought we were going to have is this one back here, and it actually had some follow through. This one's kind of comparable. The day is not over yet, but there might be something here brewing. Hate these big days on on Fridays. Now, I'm holding some Baba longer term. I have it in a couple different things. Shares that I picked up down here between 80 and 85, and it's just been chopping here. So I'm not adding to it. I want to make sure it's starting to. I'd love to get a large range breakout. Let's start moving this thing back up. And what was one of the things that was on our side here was the SPX. The SPX here being extended on the 5-minute is excellent. That is at least a big benefit when we start to see this up here. Sometimes it could stay up here and be embedded. This could easily start to turn back up again, and we could chop around here the majority of the day as we make new highs. But usually the first push back up here, you're going to get some weakness back down here. The first pull back, you're going to get some strength. Weakness, strength, weakness. How far do you come down? All right, just to jump back on here, we saw a little volume spike here and a little breakdown of the wedge pattern. Perfect. So it does prove out the pattern. The setup was there, the 5-minute, everything here. Like I said, this could be one of the better setups on the day.